Hello everybody, I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful painted Jesmonite trinket tray, so let's go ahead and get started. I've measured out some resin and powder off camera and I'm just going to go ahead and give this a good mix. My acrylic resin is a 1:2 ratio by weight, which means I'll measure out 1 part acrylic resin and 2 parts powder. For this first layer, I mixed about 35 grams of resin and 70 grams of powder. For this video, I was actually inspired by Lemon Crush Studio. She is on Instagram, and if you haven't seen her pieces, you need to go and check it out. They're absolutely stunning. And I thought I'd try and create my own. I had no idea how much effort goes into making pieces like this, and it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. But for someone who is still new to the world of Jesmonite, I don't think it came out too bad. So I decided to go with a deep red and white color palette, and I'm going to add my pigments in now, and then I'm just going to mix that up really well, and then we're ready to go and pour our first layer. So again, I'm going to mix this very well. When I went to pour this in my mold, I noticed that I didn't mix the colors in well enough and it created streaks in the end product. It wasn't too bad, but again, just make sure you mix everything in well. Okay, so once that is done, I'm ready to pour my first layer. So I wanted to go for a circle abstract sort of look, or the blob technique, if you will. I don't know if anyone has come up with a proper term for that, or maybe I'm just dumb and I don't know. But we'll just go with it. So if you're trying to create a look with the perfect circle and you don't want it to pool all over your mold, I suggest making your mixture a little bit thicker by adding more powder. Just remember that when you add more powder, your mixture will cure a lot quicker. One of my main concerns with this technique is the sweating between layers. You need to find a sweet spot between drying the layers so you don't have that sweat line around your circles. I've never used AC100, so I can't recommend the curing time between layers, but for acrylic resin, or at least the brand that I'm using, I let this cure for a total of 30 minutes before I added my next layer, and that seemed to be the sweet spot, and I didn't get any sweat lines. You might need to just eyeball it and go with your gut, and that's kind of what I did, and it worked out really well in the end. Okay, so again, mixing up some Jesmonite, getting ready for the second layer. For this layer, I mixed 150 grams of resin and 300 grams of powder. That is a lot for a trinket tray. You can mix up less, but I wasn't sure how much this particular mold needed, so I decided to make more rather than less. So with this layer, I'll fill the entire mold. Pretty simple and straightforward. You'll see that I do tap my molds, and this is to get rid of any trapped air bubbles. I will let this cure for 45 minutes and then we'll be ready to demold and paint. So this was honestly just a fun art video that I wanted to share with you. I'm trying so hard to not make all of my videos a tutorial, because I do just enjoy making art videos and just, you know, having fun with it. But yeah, This one was just, I wasn't even prepared for this video. I just decided, hey, I'm going to do this because I felt inspired, and yeah, I decided to do it. So I hope that you guys do enjoy it. If you do have any questions, please do leave them down in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them to the best of my ability. I'm not extremely clued up on Jesmonite, but I am practicing and having fun, and I really do like working with this medium. Now for the fun part, painting and demolding. Surprisingly, I didn't get any sweat lines, and that was the part that was worrying me the most out of this entire project. That and the painting. So I was pretty happy that I didn't get any sweat lines. I thought that was genius of me. I was so proud of myself for figuring out that I only needed 20 minutes for, not 20 minutes, sorry, 30 minutes for it to cure. Initially, when I did make a tester project and I decided to thicken up my mixture, and it took about 20 minutes. So just keep in mind, the thicker you make it, the less time it needs to cure. But obviously you can't make it too thick, otherwise it's just not going to work. Okay, so over here I have a stencil that I cut out on my Silhouette Cameo. I think this is sandblast vinyl that I'm using. You can use normal vinyl. If you have a Cricut, you can do this as well. And this is just going to make it easier for me because my drawing skills are absolutely atrocious. So I just thought a stencil would work, and I have the Cameo, so why not just cut it out? You could even just put a decal on if you don't want to paint on it, but I just thought it would be a fun art video, so I decided I'm going to paint on it. Okay, so I am just going to burnish it down with my finger, and then I'm going to remove the transfer tape. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trace the inside of the stencil, and then I'll go ahead and paint this. So this is what it looks like once I've drawn it on, and I was actually thinking this would have looked so nice with a silver metallic pen, but I didn't have one, so I thought let's just go ahead and paint this on. But I think a metallic marker, it just would have looked, I don't know, I would love to actually give that a try. So I am using a very fine paintbrush, and this is just going to help me get those fine lines. And then I'm also using Heritage acrylic paint. My paint is really old, so I would recommend that you get a decent acrylic paint if you're going to be trying this out. I had streaks in my paint, and I don't know if it's just from the paintbrush or if it's just because the paint is old, because my paint is really, really old. I bought it, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. So I would recommend that you just get some decent acrylic paint if you are going to be doing this. So the painting took me a total of 40 minutes to do, and that's because I really took my time to do it. Painting, I realized, is something that you just don't rush. And I did that when I did a tester project. I rushed through it and it looked horrific. So I decided, yeah, I really need to just take my time with this. So that's exactly what I did. So I'm going to speed this part up for you. So this is what the end product looks like. I did go ahead and seal it with some Krylon matte finish, and I did that off camera. You can obviously seal your project with whatever works best for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Bye!